Hey traders, this is going to be a short analysis for this week. I might be able to come back in at some point during the week and do a quick one. I'm away for most of this week now. I've just taken 4 fairly quick forex trades for myself. It's only 8:16 p.m. here in Australia. Now, what I wanted to quickly show you, even whilst you're traveling, you're away, you can select your currency pairs once the market has shown you a directional move. Take your entries, and it can be as simple as this in just possibly in the last hour and a half or so. And all whilst I'm just sitting here talking with other people. I just had my laptop open with 4 currency pairs: pound USD, pound JPY, pound AUD, pound NZD. I've banked about 140 pips. And that could just be it for the rest of the week. I don't really have to do anything else. So I'm just going to quickly run through what the trades were with you so you guys can have a look. Just quickly, the first thing is completely sit out the Asian session when it doesn't actually show you anything in particular, right? Had a look at news as well. There wasn't anything significant that's going to be released today. So what we're expecting is once the market actually chooses its direction, it will kind of just continue on without any major spikes. So what I did with all these currency pairs, I had a look, Euro USD. It kind of just started sinking, establishing higher lows. The behavior we're looking at around the EMA 50s and the 200s. Remember, that's very important. For binary options traders, you can actually take the first hit to your EMA. So in this case, look at this, during the Asian session, Euro USD, first hit to the EMA 50. And you can keep playing around with that. See this one here, that's the first hit to the EMA 200, and that creates a wick. So you can always go in and take some blind trades that way. But again, be clear on how you do, which currency pairs you want to approach in that regard. In this case, price comes back up and hits this one here. I probably would have looked at trading this one. It wasn't that close enough, so you could possibly have traded this. Apply your fibs as well at that point in time. See this price? Very close to hitting the 61.8. Now when price is moving like this, there's every chance, especially when it's coming up to hit the 50, that there's a chance that the market will continue down with the 50, right? So this is where you can trade the 61.8 strategy. Right? Euro pairs, unless I kind of really like the setups, I probably won't trade them anyway. You could have traded the Euro JPY, Euro USD as well on Forex. But I like my pound pairs when they're moving. So pound USD, here's where the market went and created a bit of a double top setup on the EMA 50 itself. The EMA 200 is quite significantly away. I didn't pay too much attention to what was happening on the left of the screen in terms of where the market's been. So this was the double top setup. I waited. I didn't actually jump in here. Okay, there are instances where you kind of just want to wait to see if the market comes and does something else. In this case, it's always better to give away a little in order to kind of capture a bit. So I waited for the consolidation, and then this candle here, right on the transition of Asian session going into Frankfurt, I believe. Market came down. I took my entry on the next candle, and that finished very comfortably down here on this one for 30 pips. Now, I could actually play with that for a lot longer. My issue really was that this week I'm traveling, so I don't really want to be trading all so much, but I managed to get my 130 pips. So from that point to this point, and that was primarily these 2 hits to the 50. The market was bouncing back, consolidation was happening. This aggressive move away from the 50 is when I took my entry, because I was expecting this. For those of you that actually have tight stop losses, now my stop loss, guys, I'll just drop a line. Initially, when I took my entry here, my stop loss was at the official high of the Asian session, right? A couple of reasons why I had it here and not higher. One was that this was a lower high, plus because this was communing with the 50, I knew that whenever time another stop hunt comes, like it happened here, it will possibly just come to the 50 itself. It won't go anywhere near the high of the Asian session. So I had it up here. Now for those of you that have very tight stop losses, in this case, if you would have taken an entry where I took mine, and you would have had whatever spreads you would have applied. See how price at some point was higher than that point. So at this moment here, I was actually out of the money for, let me just calculate, probably about 4 pips or so, okay, given spread. So I was out of the money for about 4 pips. Now for some people, you'd have very tight stop losses somewhere around here. If your broker actually has significant spreads, because sometimes what you'll find is they increase the spreads, right? Once they get to when they're doing stop hunts. And if they actually do that, and your price was up here somewhere, or even a very tight stop loss here, guess what? You would have been stopped out. So that's the reason why I have a higher stop loss. And again, it's just in case something goes crazy. For someone that asked me last week on do I use the risk reward stuff, no, I don't. I will only enter a forex trade when I know it's guaranteed to be in the money. How do you get that? It's just experience. The more you observe how the market moves, the more you become comfortable with and be able to kind of, it's like putting your fingers to the pulse. It's the market's about to move and you kind of feel it. The other way I can explain it is to say, you know how when a king tide hits or a tsunami hits, where the tides kind of just push out before that big surge of water comes towards you again. In this case, this is what we're kind of looking at. You're looking at the spreads and how the changes in spreads happen. But more importantly, it's just human psychology to say if the price is moving this direction, we're always paying attention to what the EMA 50 is doing. And so your best judgment prediction-wise would be the price will always come back and commune with it, right? So again, I don't play around with risk-reward because I'm really not in the market long enough to ever be hammered by it. And I will only take an entry with currency pairs and setups that I know are going to get me whatever my strikes are, right? So pound USD, pound JPY, yes, I know I can go in and trade for 150, 200 pips at a time. But because it's a Monday, you really don't know what the institutions or the market actually has planned for you, right? So unless, and especially unless I am at the top of this curve, this bell right here, so if I just get rid of this, if I was somewhere up here, I would know that the market's going to rise quite significantly, right? But this market has been falling since last week, so I need to know from the market itself as to what it's about to do, okay? Just for the time being, ignore this. This could actually have just been a false move and the market's going to continue moving in that direction. What we can do, draw in our fibs and look to see what the market is doing. See if it bounces off the 50 or the 61.8 and starts coming down again. Or if it continues to break that, if at some point it just consolidates and the consolidation is something small like this, then you can look at taking a entry going north again. Okay, and that could possibly be going towards the EMA 200, but at this stage, that's not confirmed. It could just potentially be where the price will come up, commune with this again, and start heading down. So all I want to say to you guys is once you start recognizing this sort of behavior, you can start trading both ways. And in this case, again, look at where my entry has been at the bottom of this candle, the start of this one, and here's at the end of this long one here. I managed to get, my spreads on this were 0.7, so I managed to get just slightly over 30 pips off of that. All right, you can do exactly the same thing. Pound JPY, again, this one, the reason why I did it, it's the way price is communing with the EMA 50. Price hit this again, this was too early for my entry, and you're always expecting, if you see double hits happen, much better. In this case, I didn't take an entry because I wasn't really sure if this market is going to continue going down, because after this, there could have been another candle going up, a green one, right? We don't have enough of a clue. Most people would have probably looked at this, forgotten about distance between 200 EMA and 50 EMA, and possibly even price behaviors around the 50 here, would have thought this is a W formation and would have just taken a long trade from here onwards. Now, having said that, if you did recognize this W formation at any point here, even up to this point here, you could have looked and said, okay, if I was to only look at capturing low pips, like 10, 15 pips or so, you could have just from that point here calculated to the distance to the EMA 50, right? In this case, 16 pips. So if you're kind of training yourself to being able to pick up small amounts, 10, 15 pips, you could have looked at doing that, right? If your analysis would have thought, okay, price is going to go from here to, say, the EMA 200, which would be crazy right now, but that would be a 80 pip ride. So something along those lines, right? At this stage, notice how this low here is actually still the low of the Asian session from mid-Asian session to kind of towards the mid-end of Asian session. It was exactly the same thing. So when you jump onto a higher time frame, it might give you some sort of a setup where here price may start to reverse. We don't know at this stage. And the reason why I'm saying these things to you is I want you to start thinking about the fact that you're relying on the market to show you what it's going to do. Not too many people out there will just look at this and say, yep, it's going to do this exactly just from this. So you learn to trade what's becoming very familiar to you. And that's exactly all what we're doing. But look at it this way, where I'm keeping it so simple for myself, where just slight movements and slight behavior from the market is enough to tell me that it's going to move in a particular direction, and I can go in and I can bank 30, 60, 2 by 30 pips and 2 by 40 pips, and that gets me 130 pips out of it. Okay? No, sorry, 140 pips out of it for just one day, 1.5 hours or so, and we're done. So for, again, pound JPY, the entry was straight after this candle here, this big one here. And the reason for that, this 3 candle pair was a continuation pattern for myself and my liking, and so I took my entry off this. Binary wise, you could have taken a couple of trades here. The first one would have been, well, actually no, ignore that, that's more for advanced traders. First one would have been this one here. See where price opens, goes up, it's above the EMA 6 and the red Babylon slope line, so take your put, because this continuation pattern also gives you your additional confirmation. Price is heading south, right? If you wanted to do fibs on the waves, you can actually do that as well. Grab your fib, utilize this to be the highest wave so far. Lowest point is still this one here. Notice how it bounces off the 61.8 line. That's another point of confluence for you, where you don't trade the 61.8 line here, but that's what's also going to help you take your entry on this one to say, okay, price is heading down. And I don't think I've mentioned this previously, where when you are playing around with your points of confluence, you don't actually have to look at just the highest point and the lowest point. You can actually play around with the waves as well to see where does this wave sit in relation to this wave. Right, so, and both these waves are actually formed because of the behavior of the EMA 50. That's how you can actually look at it, right? Because they're bouncing off the 50 or behaving in a certain way around the 50. So that's where you take your entries. Again, this is a very solid trade, and again, that's one where you can start putting higher dollar values onto it with a little bit more confidence. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to gain our confidence in that, okay? So that's banked. Now, price is moving up. This could actually have been now the initial low of the week at this stage, and price may continue to move in this direction, okay? So those are the judgments that we need to start making, and whilst that's happening, we let the market show us and confirm that to us. So at some point, if this may be just a consolidation candle because it's hit 61.8, or this may start continuing to come down, we wait for those confirmations. So say, for instance, if this is a slow red candle and then the next one is a green one bouncing up, that's when we start to reanalyze to say, okay, where is this market going? So I might look back and say, okay, what's going on here? Start going back towards the left and see where the market went last week. You can start applying your Elliott waves as well, or you just sit there and wait for the market to show you. Let it break past your initial high of the Asian session. If it consolidates, we might have a bat pattern. So this may go up again and climb up here before we're looking for the 50 to kind of commune with the 200 before we start taking entries. So you should start to talk to yourself and be thinking along these lines as to where is this market going, what's it telling me. These are 3 hits to the low in the Asian session. So again, is that market going to bounce back up? Okay, we might see another establishment of a wave before it starts to come back down again. You do need to do a little bit more analysis right now because these are kind of uncertain times right now, with fundamentals going nuts and presidents and prime ministers doing all sorts of crazy talk. So just be wary of that. Okay. Now in this case, we're looking at USD CHF. That I'm using that as the official high, and price is just communing around the 50 line. So it's all I'm doing here with the fibs, the EMA 50s and the 200s, again, is using them as a point of conversation with myself. And that the more I do that, the more I actually see things that are familiar to me. Okay, CHF JPY again. Look at this, price constantly communes with the 50. First hit to the 50, first hit to the 50 early in the morning, you could trade them. These are the nice ones where I see the aggressive moves. Once the market's shown us wicks to the high here on the 50 or the 200, this one comes back down and you see this sort of behavior. See, these are trades you can take with binary because a lot of the times this sort of hit back to the 50 and the wicks are created gives me another sense of confidence that my analysis about the market heading in this direction is accurate. Okay, unless I'm seeing pattern formations happening here on the 50, I probably would say, okay, if I'm getting hits this way, the market's going to continue heading south this way. Right? And if you want your confirmations, wait for your confirmations. In this case, I didn't bother about the CHF JPY because this was a bit of a W pattern formation, right? So these wicks to the high kind of gave me some sort of reservation feelings about market continue going up to the 200. So I just stayed out of it. And that's how you're going to start to think. Remember that itch to trade, get rid of it. If you look at something and it's not clear enough for your liking, don't risk your 100% in the money track record. Just don't risk it. It's not worth it because some other currency pair is going to give you your entry. And in this case, pound AUD, pound NZD helped me nail my 40 pips each. So what I did here, and this is going to be another continuation pattern most likely, what I did here was to say 3 hits to the high here. This candle, for me, continuation pattern again, bit of an evening star setup, market came out, remember? This hit up here, where I said above the high of the Asian session, most likely is where the market may not go. Price did come here, they probably did increase their spreads. Okay, so if anyone had their money right here, they would have been dead. I wasn't into the market at that point in time. All right, so I took my entry on the open of this candle and this pullback. Right, so I actually took it as soon as the wick hit the top of the body of this one on this candle. Right, and just within that one candle, it gave me 40 pips. Okay, just one candle, 15 minutes, guys. That's all I was in the market for with pound AUD, and that's my 40 pips. Why did I exit off out of there and not wait for the extended ride? Well, look at this. For another hour and 15 minutes, or it'll be longer by the time market comes back and hits here if it's going to continue going down this way. So for an hour 15 minutes, I would have actually lost. I would have given some of those pips back. And that's where you've got to make a judgment call to say, how much do you really want to make out of it? If you want to sit here and make millions out of your singular trades, then you're going to have some problems. Or do you want to be able to hit your whatever your targets are in terms of small pips, 30 pips, 40 pips, 50 pips at a time, and then work your way up to dumping more lots onto that? All right, so that's the mindset you want to have, and that's going to help you avoid any unnecessary losses. Remember this, where I was saying I took my entry here. I could have taken an entry here. I could have looked at an entry here somewhere because I would have thought, yep, market's going to continue heading south. We're getting some patterns on the EMA 50. Again, patience is key. Wait for the market to confirm. If the market would have just gone boom down like this, and I would have thought, crap, I've missed it. Guess what's going to happen? There would have been consolidation. Like here, I didn't take my entry here because, again, if I missed it here and the market kept going down, there'd be some degree of consolidation like this. You're never going to really have solid candles where they just continuously go down one by one by one by one. Market will slow down and take a breather at some point. And when you when you utilize that information to confirm wherever your analysis was in regards to the directional flow, that consolidation becomes your entry point. In this case, my entry point was here. It's never too late, right? Pound NZD, same thing on this one. My entry wasn't here. My entry wasn't here. My entry wasn't here. My entry wasn't even here. This, in actual fact, this hit to the high of the 50 was my confirmation this market's going down. So I took my entry on the next candle. Price opened, it moved up slightly. I took my entry there. Right? I think it was this one. It was this candle here that I exited off. Okay, and this 45 minutes, that trade, right? 40 pips here, 40 pips here, 30 pips here, 30 pips here. Okay, 140 pips, roughly maximum about an hour and a half, and we're in and out and we're done. All right, binary options trades, I think we've already spoken about that. And just quickly, notice this, where this looks like a fairly decent continuation happening. Bounce off the 61.8, right? So that's where you can utilize your fibs, and let's put it here as well and utilize what's going on there. Okay, that's bouncing off the 50. So utilize just that little bit of information and then see where we go. Just heading back to Euro USD from the start. Now, if this is going to continue going south, our 50 has already crossed below our 200. So guess what's going to happen? At some point, price is going to come out and commune with this. We're waiting for that communion to happen. Once it's happening, we're going to wait for that market to tell us exactly the direction it's going to move in. It's going to form patterns or hit wicks to the high or something along those lines, and that's going to be our confirmation. Again, look at this behavior around the 50 coming down. Again, we're going to wait for either hits to the low and then pattern formations down here before the market moves back up, or once again, we'll wait for communion with the 50. See, look at this. This hit here has just communed with the 50 again. Same thing here. We're waiting for that communion to happen. This may just continue going south. AUD USD are completely bypassed and never had a look at it earlier. Again, binary options traders, look at this. Hit to the high. Trade the first hit. All right. So you can establish your buffer areas here as well, but take that first hit. And in most instances, they will be a winner. This one coming back up again. This is even better. You've got your 50 and your 200 communing at the same spot. Just the first wick to the high. That's it. These guys here, major scams. Stay away from them. USD CHF. All right, this one, which is a carbon opposite of usually Euro USD. So you notice this consolidation, market goes down. Consolidation, market goes up. Direct opposite correlation. What I want you to do is take note of either or. What you're going to find is one is always going to move slower than the other. So if one is doing something and you turn on to the next one and say, hey, this isn't moving yet, you can look for an entry on that. CHF JPY, same thing. We're waiting. Price is going to go down. We'll watch for behavior here if this is going to continue south. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for communion with the 50 plus pattern formations. That's going to give us somewhat of a reversal. So this week so far, it looks like the market's just continuing on from last week, right? All of this is continuation from last week. So is this. We're not sure if the market is going to go for a midweek reversal at any point in time, because sometimes the market can just go on one direction for a greater length of time, so like maybe a couple of weeks or so, right? You can also apply pricing to look at if price is anywhere near whole numbers. If it is hitting whole numbers, like 140, 0.000 something along those lines, then take consideration of that. Jump onto your higher time frames, 1 hour, 4 hour daily, to look for support and resistance zones. Excuse me, and that's practically it. So look for your binary entries hitting the 50 or the 200, the first hit. Look for your binary entries on the trend runs that are happening. So for example, this stuff here, price comes down. When price pushes up like this, when you know this is a trend run, when you know this consolidation that usually comes, what you're expecting is price will push up, hit your EMA 6, and if it's above your Babon slope as well, take the hit as soon as it hits. Okay, if you want to apply your buffer zones, if the buffer zones aren't respected, don't worry about it. See, in this case here, Euro JPY, this one, you could have taken that hit to the high. You could probably would have thought about it this one, but again, I usually like the first hits. But you could have done this as well, where price hit above EMA 6 and Babon slope. See this one here, consolidation, price did not go up, don't take the trade. But just within the scope of, see these ones here, first hit to the high, above your EMA 6 and Babon slope, and if you applied your fibs as well, look at this, you've got the 61.8 hit here, so take that entry. So just once again, just within what we've just analyzed just for a Monday, 140 pips, plus you could have actually, I didn't take any binary trades today, I didn't really care for them, but we've already looked at about 4 or 5 of them that you could have so easily taken just off your Forex analysis. Okay, so guys, enjoy the rest of the week. Wait for the crosses, EMA 250s to happen, and then watch for behavior around the 50 and the 200. There won't be any more videos for the rest of the week because I'm done for with trading, and I won't be trading until next Monday. So enjoy your week. Write your trades down, and I'm hoping you're mastering this setup, because this is all you need. No more groups, no more Forex lessons or anything along those lines. If you can kind of just stick with this, I don't know what to call this at this stage, we'll just call it the simple Forex strategy. Apply binary options trades within your trend runs, and then gradually, once you've mastered this, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing Nadex trades off of this as well, because this is so easy. Once you see this price hits the 50, and it's exactly the same time where you would look to take your Forex entries. Like for example, you see these hits to the high, price comes down, consolidation happens, and you think you want to take a trade here or entry here or so, you can do exactly the same thing in Nadex. You know, you enter and just take a 2-hour binary, calculate whatever the spread differences would be, take a 2-hour binary, maybe out of the money somewhere down here, and you can utilize your fibs to calculate what the price would be, right? So for example, just going off what we've got here, what I would have done is to say, okay, if prices come back, hit my 61.8, and this one comes down or this one comes down, and we see prices hitting our 38.8, 38.2 line, what I would do is look to see what the price on Nadex is, take my entry somewhere off here, and say my out of the money contract would be where I would say in 2 hours time price will be below that mark there, 121.158. Again, calculate the spreads that Nadex has given you. So it would be an out of the money contract, and for 2 hours, so in roughly 30 minutes, you'd already be in the money, right? And when you're expecting price to continue going down, so you could either write it down, and 2 hours by now you would have made the full contract, or if you were getting a decent price on it, sell your contract, get rid of it, and bank your profits. That's all we're doing with Nadex. It's as simple as that. Okay? All right, guys, I've spoken too much for the week, so all the best, and please do shoot me some success stories. All right, see ya.